Now in its fourth year, the Lucel Tate Lecture 2021, Remembering Broadwater Farm, A Contemporary History of Black Settlement in the United Kingdom, was delivered on the 29th of October 2021 to an audience of Hibiscus Caribbean Elderly Association members and guests by the co-founder of Tottenham Rights, Mr. Stafford Scott. In this abridged virtual edition, the full lecture can be viewed at hibiscuscommunitycentre.co.uk. Scott details the legacy of the police debacle at Broadwater Farm in 1985 and traces its impact on public policy to the present day. He highlights the dangers confronting black people from corrupt policing practices that are inherently racist. He outs the architects and purveyors of these policies and warns against the system's relentless criminalization and incarceration of black people, now an instrument of policy deployed to grow employment and assist the regeneration of local economies. Some £5.63 billion was spent on the UK's prison system in 2020-21, one of the highest amounts in the last 10 years. In Remembering Broadwater Farm, Scott brings to bear his personal experience of being arrested following the uprising in 1985. Delivered with passion and verve, his analysis of the uprising is an excoriating critique of the UK's failure to uphold basic and fundamental rights of its black population, a condition which Scott concludes will not get better anytime soon.
Hello, my name is Stafford Scott. I come from a place called Tottenham. You want to know Tottenham? Yeah, respect. So I've been asked by Clifford Headley to come and do the Lucel Tate Memorial Lecture. It sounded like a really significant, important lecture, so I said, yes, I will come and do that. Always happy and proud to hang out with black people, to tell black people about the struggles that black people have been through. Recently, I've just been part of an exhibition that set some records in this country and set some records in this place. The exhibition was called Warring and Babylon. Anybody hear about that exhibition? Yeah. You did hear about it, enough respect. And that exhibition has set some records in this country for being the most visited exhibition in London at the time. There was thousands of black people came out of their homes to come to the ICA, that's the Institute of Contemporary Art, a place that black people generally don't go. But they came there because we showed them their history in this country, in this place, in a way that's never been shown before. We set records in that place. 12,000 people came there. They actually paid money to come to the exhibition, and the vast majority of those who came happened to be black. We have an opportunity to come out into other communities and talk about our experiences. I like to talk about our experiences because I think that too often in our black communities we forget our own black history. We love the music. I love the music. And sometimes we love the music so much that we're just listening to the music and we're dancing back into slavery. And we're dancing back into oppression. Because oppression and slavery is just around the corner. Economic slavery. And there's been an oppression that has never left us. In the exhibition called Warring and Babylon that we put on at the ICA, what we try to show people is how in this country they try to rewrite history. The history that even we live and we know. So what we tried to show them in the ICA, for example, was this notion that the hostile environment was recently created by some woman called Theresa May. We tried to show them that that's foolishness. There's never been a day on this planet. There's never been a day that black people have been in this country since the landing of that boat called the Windrush, where this space and this place hasn't been a hostile environment for people that look like you and me. And that's why it's really important and crucial and critical that people that look like you and me can do the dancing, that's fine, but you better know the history because you need to teach your children. Because if you can't teach your children the history, then they're going to be living in a place that they don't understand. They're going to be living in a place that will twist them and turn them till they start to fight against people that look like themselves. So why I talk like this and have this bit of a tone is because I'm in this space and I'm just seeing some old faces. So where's the young people? Serious talk, right? Serious talk, all right? But we can come in these spaces and places and listen to some of the old music. Most of those old music, let me tell you, we had a playlist for War in Babylon. Check my name, it's Stafford Scott. Go on Spotify. Most of the music that you heard in there today, you'll hear in that playlist. It's going to be in the context of a war in Babylon. There's a war going on in this place, and too many people know that there's a war going on, are sitting on the sidelines and watching the war take place. And too many people forget that the war even happened. From the day we stepped over the Windrush, there's been a war. In this exhibition, War in Babylon, that we put on at the ICA, right, we show this book. The book is called Nigger Hunting in England, and it's written by someone called Joseph A. Hunt on behalf of the West Indian Standing Conference. And it's about police officers in this country that used to leave Brixton Police Station and said that they weren't going back to that station unless they had I'm sorry if I'm using the word, but that's the word that they use, nigger by the toe. So from then until today, there's a war between black youths, black community, and the police. And that's what I'm here to shed a little light on, to tell you a little bit about that struggles that happened on Broadwell Farm. The people in here remember Broadwell Farm? Yeah. Alright, give thanks. Because ironically today, this week, right, Winston Silcock was released from prison in 2003. Right? We're in October, Black History Month, and 36 years ago, the story that I'm going to tell you about kind of begun. That's the uprisings on Broadwater Farm. So this is what we told people in War in Babylon. After the uprising, after the riots in 2011 in Tottenham, do you remember they brought back Boris Johnson and David Cameron, and they were really pissed because they'd been on holiday and they didn't want to leave their holiday to come back here. Do you remember? Right? And this is what happened. When they came back here, they said the gangs are the ones that orchestrated the riots. Do you remember, right? But there was five reviews, including the Metropolitan Police Service's own review called 4 Days in August. And all of those reviews totally denied the gangs had orchestrated anything. Listen to this, right? But they carried on with this narrative about the gangs. What happened was the Home Secretary, Theresa May, this is the same time that they claim that she's creating a hostile environment. This is what she does. She gives more power to Boris Johnson. She gives him power over the police. He's the Mayor of London. So she gave Boris Johnson more power over the police, and this is what Boris Johnson did. There was this, you've all heard of Operation Trident, right? Yeah. So Operation Trident was just there for black on black crime. That's foolishness about black on black crime. So who was there for white on white crime all this time? So Trident was just there for black on black crime. That means all Trident ever learned was black names and black faces. We were proving in the case of Duggan that Trident was corrupt. We were proving in the case of Duggan that Trident was putting the guns on the streets in black communities. We were proving that. The guy that gave Duggan the gun had 3 guns. They knew he had 3 guns. This is serious stuff, right? They knew he had 3 guns. They knew Duggan had no gun. Wouldn't you go for the man with the 3 gun if your job's to stop guns being on the street? They waited for Duggan to get the 1 gun, they murdered Duggan. They didn't go back and get the 2 guns from this guy, you know? They left the guy on the street for 90 days. And when they did go back and get him, he had no gun. So it was proving that Trident was corrupt. So they closed down Trident because they didn't want us to prove it. But Boris Johnson didn't care. When Theresa May gave him more power, he got 2 deputy mayors of policing. He reinstated Trident as the gangbusters, and he said it's all about the gangs. And he went for them again. And they created a list, it's called the Gangs Matrix. Have you heard about the Gangs Matrix? Yes. I'm the only person ever got a copy of the Gangs Matrix. I got a copy of the Haringey Gangs Matrix. When I looked at it, I was shocked. Because the biggest gang in Haringey is the Tottenham Turkish boys. And when I look on the Haringey Gangs Matrix, there's 100 names on there, 99 of them was black. Now remember I just told you, the biggest gang is the Tottenham Turkish boys. So there's an investigation into the Matrix. Hear this now. The Matrix is computer-driven, algorithms, right? It's supposed to have the names of the baddest gangsters. Even in Europe, they got Matrix, so they got leaked. It's supposed to have the names. It's supposed to have the names of the baddest gangsters, right? It's algorithm-driven. On my Matrix, I can see the colour red, the colour amber, and the colour green. The colour red is the bad boys. There's only 6 out of 100 was in red. These are people that had real evidence that they committed serious violent crime. Then there was 30 of in amber. These were the youths, you know, they're out there. You don't mess with their food. They will mess you up. And they don't have to be gang related or nothing. They're just serious. Some of them are sick. Some of them are psycho. Some of them are paranoid. They're a bottom out of the stunk. Don't mess with them. But then 50 of them on this list was green. When I checked it out, what green meant, there was no evidence that they'd ever used violence in their life. They was on there because they're the friends of the amber and the friends of the red. 38 of the green had never even been arrested before. Now listen to this. Because they told you they got the list. And this is what they told you. We got this list with these 100 bad kids on it. They're really violent. And because they're so violent, no one will talk. So we're going to do Achilles heel policing and Al Capone style policing on them. Do you know what that means? You do. Achilles heel is finding their weak spot. Al Capone policing is like what they did in America to real gangster. Al Capone, they couldn't catch him. So they put him down for tax. So what they're telling us is this. In our gang, and this is the police, the biggest gang, right? This is their new gang. We've got a taxman in our gang. We've got a benefit office in our gang. We've got a job centre in our gang. We've got a housing association in our gang. We've got the councils in our gang. All of these people are in our gang. And if we can't prove that this little violent thug is violent, all of these other people in our gang will help us to mess her up. Don't laugh, because this is what they're doing to the youths. You know, one time I stopped them from doing something to the youths on the Harringay gang matrix. This is what they did. They said, "Staff, you think you're good?" I said, "Yes, I'm the best." They said, "Well, what are we going to do next?" The next thing they did is they went to the DVLA. And the next thing that happened was the DVLA, that's the Driving Licensing Authority, they went to all the 100 youths on that list and they said, "Yo, run back your licenses. The police say you smoke copious amounts of skunk weed, which makes you unfit to drive. Run back your license. Then you have to do this if you want your license back. You have to give us a blood test. You have to fill in this form. Tell us when last you took crack. Tell us when last you had heroin. Tell us when last you took the mazepam." They treat these youths like they're not human. They kick them out of schools at the age of 13. If you're on the Harringay gang list and they tell the school that you're on the Harringay gang list, then the school goes like this. Who else is she hanging out? And then all of you are going to get kicked out of school. Even if you're not on the gang list. Once you're out of school, that's the end of you. When you're on the list, they share the list with the council, the job centre, the housing association, the schools. So you're 13 or 14 and they're telling them, "What's your name, brother?" Carl. They say, "Yo, you see 13-year-old Carl, he's on the list." And then, yo, everybody kicks you out, Carl. Everybody around the table with you is going to get kicked out too. Then you're really going to laugh. They think you're all in a gang. All of you get kicked out. And when you get kicked out, where you going? There's nothing there for you. Nothing. When they tell you about gangs and grooming our kids for gangs, some of it might happen now. Because we're teaching the kids to do this. But the reality is the system is preparing the kids for the gangs. There's nowhere else for the kids to go. And if we as big people don't know this, ain't awake to this, and ain't educating our young people about this, then we're complicit with the system in this war in Babylon. We are fighting to them, because we're not fighting for ourselves no more. Now I can do this for the next 3 hours, folks. And I would have pulled some more exhibits to help people to see and understand. But all I say to you is this. I don't know how you've managed to keep this space. It's great you've got a place. I hear they split the elderly, that's amazing. We have to serve them when they served us. But bring the young in here. Make this a true community space. Make this a real opportunity. So I know that we're more, and we've always been more than what these people want to tell us we are. We're in a war in Babylon. And you see the people I've spoken about, Boris Johnson, who helped to create a database. He's now the Prime Minister. The deputy governors that he had in London that helped to create a database, one was called Kit Malthouse. He's now the Minister for Police in government. The other's called Stephen Greenlaw. He's now in the House of Lords. The shit what they did in London, they're now going to bring right across England. You're going to see this violence ratchet and ratchet and ratchet and ratchet up. And it ain't by accident. They've also told you that they're building the prisons with 20-odd towers and places. And they're going to be private prisons. They're Americanizing the system here. This is the pipeline to prison system. And if you don't want your children to be empowered, then you better be a leader in your house. Not for